Okay, so we are looking at 4, 5, and 6 today. Now here, Kalidasa is starting to describe the other parts of Devi's um, both body parts and the Alankara. Okay. See, one thing we have to remember in whenever we are describing Devi or any form, any deity, when there is description of the Alankara or the Abhushana, we may wonder why is the Abhushana being described so beautifully. What does it mean to a devotee or a sadhaka? Right? If you're going to go and describe the kankana, the bangles of Devi, or the earrings, kundala, or the nasika bhushana, what does it do to, what does it mean to a devotee or a sadhaka? Uh, is something that we should think about, right? Because you describe Devi because of the perfection. You're describing the form of Devi because you're wanting to visualize that form, because you're wanting to visualize beauty, so that it invokes and evokes devotion within us. And we always like to, the human mind likes to associate itself with beauty. And in the association with beauty, you are able to dissolve yourself in devotion. And this is the reason we visualize these aspects of the form of either it be Devi or Vishnu or Narayana or Krishna. That is what we do. But there's a lot of description about the Abharana also, the Abhushana also. Like you take Krishna, there'll be a description of the peacock feather. There'll be description of the pitambar that he wears. Then there'll be description of the flute that he is holding. Right? All of these descriptions are also made, which is purely in reference to the either the abharana or the abhushana. It means either or the vastra. A lot of times it's the vastra that they are wearing also is described beautifully. So what we need to understand is our perception of the form includes all of this. Whenever we are meditating, when we are doing dhyana of a form of the deity that we are, like we take Lalita Sahasranama, Sindhura Arana Vigraham, or Vishnu Sahasranama, Kshirodhanvat Pradeshe. So when we are visualizing the form, we are also visualizing them with their abharana. Um, in Vishnu Sahasranama Dhyanam, there is uh, what is this called in the Bhakshasthala? In that pendant, there is Lakshmi, Kaustubhashri. It's called Kaustubhashri. So Shri resides in the Kaustubha or in the chest of Narayana. There is this Kaustubha or a pendant or an ornament where Lakshmi resides. So the important thing is to, when we are visualizing any of these forms, we are also visualizing them with these ornaments. And what we are visualizing is those ornaments or those abharana or the abhushana or the vastra that they're adorning are also perfect. They're also complete. They're also beautiful. See, that is why if you think of the Dasa Mahavidyas, you've spoken about the Dasa Mahavidya, right? The Kali, Tara, Mahavidya, Shodashi, Bhuvaneshwari, Bhairavi, Chinnamasta, cha, Vidya, Dhumavati, Tatha, Bagala, Chinnamasta, cha, Matangi, Kamalatmika. So there are these 10 Vidyas, Dasa Mahavidya. A lot of them don't appear beautiful. Like Dhumavati, for example, she doesn't appear beautiful. But it's a very powerful form of the deity. But that is more on the tantric side of worship, where we are looking at the energy form, not so much of the external form. But in this kind of worship where we are wanting to evoke devotion in our hearts, we always try to look at the form which is beautiful. Saundarya Lahari. We want that Lahari or the wave of Saundarya that needs to flow within. This is very important because our minds only at that time, otherwise, whenever there is some kind of blemish in the form, our automatically our eyes will go like this, our mind will think, Ayo, and the alka clean பண்ணிடலாமே. Like, can we just clean that dirt? Can we clean that this thing? This is how the mind thinks. So we want the deity that we are worshipping to be perfect, and we want everybody to hold that deity also as perfect. Which is why when you become so associated and involved with the particular deity or the form that you're worshipping, if anybody comes and says anything a little less or a little derogatory or little this thing, we feel very emotionally charged, which is why we end up having fights also. A lot of people, because there's too much of emotional investment into the form. Even Jesus Christ, they say the form, the way Jesus Christ he didn't look like the way they're depicting him now. He's depicted as a Greek, Roman, or a European look that he's got, right? But he was not European, he was a Middle East man. He was an Arab, right? Technically, he was an Arab. And if you go look at an Arab today, he doesn't look like the 2000 years ago. Christ looked very different. But they've created this form because he looks very beautiful in that form. He looks very nice, very benevolent, very loving, very caring, with that beautiful eyes, with that sharp nose. Hrithik Roshan, Madri Odiyuru look the Christ. They've beautified him. Why we do this? Because human minds look for this completeness, purnatva, this beauty, perfection. They look for this perfection. So all the abharanas in the vastra also are included in that visualization. So when they're describing, like Kalidasa is describing the kankana, the jewels or the ornaments and all that, the bangles that she's wearing, the luster of the bangle is describing, because in our minds, when we look at it, that is also Devi. You don't visualize Devi naked, right? We visualize Devi in her beautiful dressed, the best dress that is possible. That is what you put on her. Only at the time of Abhisheka, the Nirmalya Darshanam that we get. We look at her, we meditate upon that beautiful form, which is without any inhibition. But then later you put an Abhushana. We put the Vastra on her. So that Vastra is also Devi. As much as that form, in fact, if you, in the temple, I know Raghu can also confirm this, in Tirupati and all, the Abharana that Bhagavan Balaji is adorning is given as much respect as Bhagavan himself. Not just the Paduka, but also
ஐயப்பன் கோயில்ல கூட அந்த ஆபரணம் எடுத்தும் போச்சு, அது தனி மரியாதையோட மேல எடுத்தும் போவாங்க.
The Abharanas are given so much importance because when we think about the form, we are thinking of the form along with the Abharana. You see, if you're thinking about Tirupati Balaji, you're meditating upon Balaji, it's very difficult to think of him without the crown.
Crown, சங்கு சக்கரம், அது இல்லாம நீங்க
Crown, correct.
சங்கு சக்கரம் அந்த கை அபயத்தோட பார்த்ததும்
that is the meditative form. So what we need to understand is this Vastra, this Abhushana is also Narayana. That is also Bhagavan. That is also Devi. And it's not any different. In our place, there's a practice of giving sari from Devi as a prasada. Correct? The sari that Devi wears is as good as Devi herself. So that is what is happening here, where he is discussed. This is the reason I'm mentioning this is important, because when we internalize these things, we should also understand that it's not just flamboyant, it's not just some kind of uh, dramatization. It's not just drama, right? Why do we have to talk so much about how beautiful the kankana is, then the kundala is, and the this thing is, the kasturi tilaka is? All of that is Devi. All of that is an aspect or a part of Devi, which is why you look at even in the Lalita Sahasranama, Raga Swarupa Pashadhya, Krodha Karankushojvala, Manorupekshuko Danda, Panchatan Matra Sayaka. All the four arms that she's holding, in fact, the four arms have four weapons, and each weapon is a particular Devi. Vatsala Mami saying Tirupati Laddu also. Yes, Tirupati Laddu is also an important aspect of the Bhagavan's Prasada. So those weapons are also him, right? So, or those weapons are also her. Raga Swarupa Pashadhya, Krodha Kara Koshojvala, Manurupekshapodanda, Panchatanmatra Sayaka. Those four weapons are Devi herself. There is Ashwarudha Devi, there is Varahi Devi, there is Mantrini Devi. So these are all Devis. These are all forms or aspects of Devi. Now, in the same way, and in some cases, we give a name also, right? Vastra Seva in Tirupati is booked until 2050, Raghu is saying. Can you believe that? 2050 Vastra Seva. Because that is Bhagavan himself. Okay. And this is also very interesting. Okay. So now, let me just tell you the quick thing about things like these we wear, right? Bangles. See, even in the household, when we give the mamiyar or the mother gives her ornaments to her daughter, correct? Usually it's transmitted down um, through there's a certain genetic transference that happens. And these ornaments that you wear for a very long time, be it a ring or be it any of these things that you wear on yourself for a long time, you have to be very careful who you pass it on to. It's very important. We should not take it lightly. We should not just give it to somebody because we like that person. Suddenly we like somebody in the like the Rajas, Raja on the Rajas take out their abhushana or big necklaces and then pass it on to people who are who they feel like they wanted to gift and all, right? We should not do stuff like that, particularly as sadhakas, because everything that you wear on your body is a part of you. Like, for example, I was telling you this kada or this thing that I'm wearing. These are part of me, or the rudraksha that I'm wearing. This is part of me because it absorbs my energy. It is with me all the time. It is touching my physical body, but it's also in contact with my energy body. So my moods, my thoughts, my emotions, my ups, my downs, all of that is absorbed by these substances. So when I'm giving this to somebody, they are also receiving all of this. Which is why when you go to a temple, you keep your Rudraksha at the temple altar and then you take it, or your Tulasi Mala or whatever, you keep it at the temple altar because you want that to absorb the energies of that altar so that when you wear it, you receive that energy. So there is transference of energy that happens. And like I said, in the household, mothers give it to the daughter. Mothers would have worn something for like 50 years. And the daughter is getting married, and then they'll pass it on to the daughter. And the parambara varum. because there's a lot of genetic information also that is contained in that, and also that the grace and ashirvadam that is there, that the mother and the grandmother have received through that, will also get transmitted. Now, all of this is important and interesting. Why? Because to understand what, when we talk about the objects that are on our body, be it ornaments or be it any of these things that we wear, are a part of us, are us in many ways. In the same way, it is also when he says Vishwading Mandala Vyapta Manikya Tejas Purat Kankanalankృతే Vibhramalankrite Sadhubhi Satkrite. So what he's saying here is the the bangles. So he's talking about the bangles here, kankana. And the kankana are spurat. The kankana are shining with manikya teja, which means that these are bangles which are made up of rubies, gems. Manikya teja spurat. They are shining. What is shining? The kankana, which is alankrite, which is adorning Devi, kankana alankrite. Ka alankrite, who is adorned? Devi. Devi is adorned by kankana, and that kankana is uh, that bangle is studded with manikya, rubies, and the effulgence of that tejas purat. Because of the ruby or the gems, there is a brilliance to it, and it is spreading in all directions. Vyapta. Vyapta where? Vishwading Mandala Vyapta. It is in all directions, it is pervading. That brightness or the effulgence is pervading. That kind of bangle she is wearing. Vibhramalankrite. And this she is adorned is Vibhrama. This alankrite, this alankaram that she is done is Vibhrama. Vibhrama means graceful, means suitable. There is, I've seen some of these people where some party, very active party workers, political party workers in Tamil Nadu, you'll see them wearing some big gold ring. So Jayalalitha's photo will be there, or some other party president photo will be there. But it'll be a very strange looking big ring. It'll be much longer than their finger, gold ring, and they'll wear this big gold necklaces. It'll look very funny. It'll look funny and it'll look it's not very pleasing to the eye. Correct? It'll look like ஜவுளி கடையிலேருந்து வெளில வந்த மாதிரி இருக்குன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. Just walked out of a jewelry store.
LKS Jewelers.
LKS Jewelers.
நகை கடையிலேருந்து வெளியில வந்தாங்க.
ஆமா, கரெக்ட். நகை கடையிலேருந்து வெளியில. சாரி.
சொல்லுவாங்க. LKS Jewelers.
அப்புறம் இன்னொன்னு, இந்த ஜெம்ஸ பத்தி சொன்ன பத்தியா, லைஃப்ல பார்த்த வரைக்கும், சப்போஸிங் ஒருத்தர் போட்டு இருக்கிறது இன்னொரு இடத்துக்கு போயிட்டு சூட் ஆகலன்னு வச்சுக்கோ, இட் டோட்டலி டிஸப்பியர்ஸ். நம்ம மாத்துல 2-3 இந்த மாதிரி ஆயிருக்கு நான் பார்த்திருக்கேன். இந்த நவரத்ன மாலை இதெல்லாம் ஜெம்ஸ் எல்லாம் நம்ம போட்டு இருக்கிற அந்த ஒரு ஸ்பட்டிகம் இதெல்லாம், இட் வி கீப் சம்வேர் சம் அதர் பிளேசஸ், அந்த எனர்ஜி வந்து அங்க சூட் ஆகல, அந்த இடத்துல போகலைனாக்கா இட் டோட்டலி டிஸப்பியர்ஸ். எங்க டிஸப்பியர் ஆகுதுன்னு தெரியறது இல்ல.
It'll vanish away.
That I've seen it.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Very interesting. No, that is true. These are very
வேறாத்து பூஜையில எல்லாம் போட்டுட்டோம்னு வச்சுக்கோ, அந்த ஆத்து எனர்ஜி இந்த எனர்ஜி மேட்ச் ஆகணும் இல்லையா? சோ ஒரு மாதிரி 2-3 தான் ஆயிடுச்சு நம்ம மாத்துல.
Very nice, very nice. Interesting. I mean, very nice. I meant to say it's very interesting. It is interesting. These are the interplay of energies we don't understand. So which is why a lot of times it is important. Like Amma saying I had this experience several times. Like for example, I used to wear a spatika mala for a long time, and whenever somebody would come and see the spatikam and touch it, oh, it's so nice. The next day,
break ஆயிடும்.
it'll break.
It will break.
And I've
எனக்கும் அந்த
had
மாதிரி
this,
நிறைய
and I've had this experience at least about 3 times. And then I started becoming very careful, and I've told people, don't touch. I will show you. If you want to see, I will show you. Right. So these are interesting things because they have become, this is the important thing to know is they become part of your body. They've become, because it carries your energies, it can reciprocate. And material is very important. Why do we keep these materials on our body and around us? Is because they have the ability to absorb the right energies and reflect back when you need it. When you need it, that substance has the ability to reflect back, or you can absorb that energy from that substance. When you do your meditation, if that meditative energy is consumed or it reverberates in that substance, when your mind is disturbed, the same substance can give you back a meditative calmness. Right? So here he's talking about her bangles that she's wearing. She's saying Vibhrama Alankrite. So we're talking about Vibhrama Alankrite. Vibhrama means graceful ornamentation. She is not wearing some danon or some just haphazardly. She's not wearing her ornamentation, and she's not wearing it in a very gaudy or on an obscene way. She's not just loading herself with a lot of gold. Oh, because I have a lot of gold, I am Devi, I am Tripura Sundari, I am Maharagni, I can put as much gold as I want. She's not just wearing gold like that, right? She is wearing a dittam அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவா. There is a word, there's a very nice word in Tamil, dittam. Dittama போட்டுக்கிறது. எதுவுமே திட்டமா பண்றது, in moderation, the right amount of display. So that is Vibhrama, graceful, Alankrite. She is, and so it's pleasing to the eye. Just because she has a lot of gold bangles, she is not just stacking herself up till here. A lot of people we've seen, right? You just put bangles on all the way in your hand. Just because you can, there's a stack of bangles like this. But just right amount so that the arm looks beautiful. The kankana on the arm looks beautiful, right? Sadhakaihi satkrite. Now, sadhakaihi satkrite means you are respected by the sadhakas. This is one point to notice here. In the previous verse, we see yogibhiv pujite. Yogibhi pujite means you are adored or worshipped by the yogis. In which one? Ratnakeyur Rashmi Chata Pallava Prollasad Dorlata Rajite Yogibhiv pujite. You are worshipped by the yogis, which means yogis are one, consider them as siddhas. Siddha Purusha are yogis, which means they are accomplished ones. Now here he is mentioning sadhubhi satkrite. Sadhvi, these are ones who are sadhakas now. So those who are accomplished also worship you, and those who are mumukshu, moksham ichchati, mumukshuhu, those who are mumukshuhu, which means who are desirous of liberation, desirous of siddha, desirous of accomplishment of that understanding, they are also worshipping you, right? So your worshipping of you doesn't end with once you've accomplished, that's it. It's not like that. So worshipping or the adoration or the respect that is given to Devi is by all, whether he is a sadhaka or he is an accomplished one. That is this one. Next one is Vasararambha Vela Samujrimbhamanaravinda Pratidvandvi Panidvaye Santato Daddaye Advaye. So she's got a pair of hands, Panidvaye. There's a very interesting adjective that Mahakavi Kalidas has brought here, referring her as Advaya. Advaya means the one who is without a second. Advitiyam, which means there is no comparison. When does comparison arise? You are like this. How can I say you are like this? Only when there is something else other than you. Advaya can be used in two ways here. One is you are incomparable. There is nothing else to compare you to. You're unique. Or there is no one else that is there. Advaya, non-dual. You are everything. There is nothing else besides you. There are two ways of looking at it, right? You are unique and incomparable. Right? People also tell us, right? Don't worry, don't compare yourself. You are unique in God's creation. That is one way. That's a motivation. Whether good, bad, ugly, whatever, I am unique. That's a motivation. That is to say that there is nobody here who is like me. The combination that I am, this combination of whatever I am a combination of several things. This combination is unique in this universe. There is no other individual you will find with this exact same combination. You may find several people who look exactly like me, but they may not have the traits like me. They may not walk like me. They may not talk like me. They may not. So there'll be differences. You cannot find even a leaf in this universe. It said no two leaves have the same print. The leaf print. The leaf has those capillaries, right? No two leaves are exactly the same. So every leaf is unique. So in that sense, we are unique. In that sense, she's saying she's unique. That is one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is there is nobody else besides her. She alone is Advaya, Advitiyam. So she is Advaya. And what it says is, what he is saying is, she is filled with compassion. Santata Udyat. So the word here is Santatodadaye. Santatodad. So means Santata Udyat. Santata Udyat means forever. Santata means eternally. Sada. Eternally. Udyat. Welling up, brimming. What? Daye. Compassion. So you are compassionate, but you're not compassionate at a certain point in time. You're not compassionate for a reason. You're not compassionate at a given point in time for or to an individual. You are ever compassionate. Santata Udyat Daye. Forever brimming with compassion. And so this is the Advaye and Santatoddaye. And then the hands are compared. Pani Dvaye. There are two hands that she has. Pani ityukte hand. Pani. Vakpani Padau. Chopasthapayuhu. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. How does that? Nirvana Shatakam, I think. Nirvana Shatakam has this. How does it start?
Manobuddhi Ahankara Chitta.
Manobuddhi Ahankara Chittani Naham. Manobuddhi Ahankara Chittani Naham.
न शोक्त जिह्वे न घ्राण नेत्रे
न श्रोत्रज न जिह्वे न घ्राण नेत्रे
न व्योम न भूभिर् न तेजो न
वायुः चिदानंद शिवोहम शिवोहम. And then in that shloka also comes na vakpani padau na chopastha payuhu chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. I am not vak, the speech. I am not pani. I am not the hands or grasping or the movement. Vakpani padau. I am not the legs or the feet. Pani padau na chopastha payu na cha upastha payuhu. I am neither the organ of reproduction nor the organ of
Excretion.
Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. I am beyond all of this. So here Pani Dvaye, there are two hands. And these two hands are Pratidwandvi. They are rivaling or they're competing with something. With what? Aravinda. Aravinda is a lotus. Right? They're competing with a lotus. And what is that kind of lotus? Not chuma, not some kind of lotus. It is a lotus that is samujrumbhamana aravinda. Samujrumbhamana, which means which is blossomed, a freshly blossomed lotus when Arambha Vela, at the morning, early hours of the morning. Vasara Arambha Mela. Arambha Vela. So Vasara is the start of the day, or Vasara is the day. Arambha Vela, Tada, at that time, Vasara Arambha Vela Samaye Vijrumbhamana, Samujrumbhamana Mana Aravinda, that kind of blossomed lotus is competing with your hands. Your hands are competing with that. It's so beautiful, so pink, and it is so tender and so beautiful to look at. And this I have a very personal experience. Okay, my guru, when we met him, he's pretty old, 70 plus or something, and we went and prostrated, and we touched his feet. Okay. And Kavi and I had the exact same experience. We shared it afterwards. Okay. The experience was when we touched his feet, we felt like we were touching a flower. He is a human being. He's a human being. He's sitting there. He's 70 years of age. When we are 70, we'll all have wrinkles and all of that, right? He didn't have any of that. And then when we touched his feet, we actually felt like we were touching the petals of a flower. Like soft and panji madri solluvaalla. So when we came after that, both of us shared. It's like, did you feel the feet? It's like, yeah, it's so amazing. So this is our personal experience. So when he is describing Devi's hands or limbs, the Pani Dvaya, both the hands are competing with the beauty of a fully blossomed, newly blossomed lotus. It's so tender, it's so gentle, it is so fresh, it's so nice and so beautiful to look at and touch and experience. And in that, she's got the Keyura in the previous verse. She's got the Kankana. She's got the armlet. She's got the bangles and everything. That is adding to the beauty of the hands. So like we spoke about this, a lot of times here in when we are describing the deity or Devi, the Alankara Vastu, the Abharana gains beauty because of the Anga. Because of the Devata's Anga, the Abharana gains its beauty, the Saundarya. So here he's saying, Vasararambha Vela, at the start of the morning time, Samujrumbhamana Aravinda, the freshly blossomed, newly blossomed lotus, Pratidvandvi, it is comparing and having a rivalry with Pani Dvaye, both your hands. O Mother, one with everlasting compassion. Santata Udyat Daye, everlasting compassion. Advaye, there is no one equal to you, O Mother. There's absolutely nobody like you. That's one way of looking at it. The other way of saying that is, O Mother, there is only you. When I experience, I only experience you. I don't experience anything or anybody else here. Right? So, those are the two shlokas for today. I didn't want to start the third one because then again, I didn't want to extend beyond the time. So today we saw 4 and 5. Vishvading mandala vyapta manikya tejas purat kankana alankrite vibhrama alankrite sadhubhi satkrite vasararambha vela samujrumbhamana ravinda pratidvandvi Panidvaye Santatodyadaye Advaye. Okay. So here, with this, he comes to the arms, right? From the face, he's come down to the arms. The next verse, he talks about the nakha, the nails, and then he'll go down to the waist and so on and so forth. Slowly, he will go down from the face, go down from the body slowly. Okay. So that is the second dandaka. And there are a few more, just about, I think, another 6-7 verses only in the second dandaka. Okay. Om kayena vacha manasendriyerva buddhyatmana va prakrite svabhavat karomi yat yat sakalam parasmai narayanaayeti samarpayami sadashivayeti samarpayami jagadambikaye iti samarpayami sadgurunathaya iti samarpayami hari om tat sadgurubhyo namaha. Hari Om. We spoke about this Vastra Seva. I just want to mention one thing that occurred to me just now. I was watching a series on Christ. There's a channel, there's a series called Chosen, a very beautiful series on Jesus Christ. There is one episode where Christ is walking into a crowd. Now there's this lady who's been suffering from some kind of an unknown disease in the body. Parts of a body like leprosy, but not entirely leprosy, but some parts of a body is bleeding and things are happening. And she is been outcast from the village. She's been outcast. So she's going and living somewhere and suffering. The problem with such people is that nobody will come to treat them also, because they'll say it's contagious and hence nobody will come to treat. So they just have to die that way, right? They just have to rot and kind of die. And somebody told this lady that there is this healer or a prophet, savior, Jesus, or whatever, a healer, Jesus, who's coming around from Nazareth. He's been healing a lot of people. And she hears and she runs towards him, but then she's not allowed. And then Christ has come into that village, and the whole village is thronging, crowds thronging towards him. Now she's not able to get close to him. And then she somehow comes, and then whenever somebody sees that this lady is there, they drive her out again. And she's crying and weeping and all that. And then somehow she cuts her way through, and Christ is just trying to make his way through and bless people and all this, just going. She cuts through, and then somehow she falls. And when she falls, she comes close enough to Christ, and she tears off a portion of his cloth. He's wearing a robe. A portion of his cloth gets torn, and she falls down. Okay. And Christ, for a moment, he senses something. Doesn't know exactly what. He senses something, and for a moment, he senses that, and then he continues this thing. This lady then takes that piece of cloth and goes and sits, and she's weeping. And she then she decides to then end her life. She walks into the water, the lake, or whatever, the river there. And then for some reason, she just feels different. And then she walks out of the river. All those wounds and disease was completely vanished. And then she looks at this piece of cloth. It's just a piece of cloth that got torn from Christ's robe. And then she is weeping, and she's become well. And then she walks back into the village, and then people recognize and says, you are that person. She says, no, I'm absolutely fine. Check for yourself. Then they see, and then they're amazed. And then she says, this blessing is because I touched Christ's cloth. And then she meets, and then they allow her to go besides Jesus Christ, and it touches, and then there is a very beautiful devotional exchange between them. It's almost very emotional, right? So I'm saying there is this power of the vastra, the abharana or the abhushana of whatever the Ishta or the Devi or Devata, even that we can hold dear and pray to it. It can offer us the same solace and the same power. That is what we do with Guru Paduka. Somebody had written in the group, Guru Paduka, the same thing with Guru's Paduka. But we have to invest that devotion and trust into that. yes, this has the power and the potential, then it will work. Then it works for us. Right? So, anyway, so that was a beautiful episode that came to mind. All right. Okay. Hari Om.
Hari
And
Om.
by the way,
Hari Om.
tomorrow we will not be able to meet. I'm traveling back. So we will not do the Venkateshwara Suprabhatam in the morning.
Okay.
We will meet next week.
Sunday only ಯಾವುದು?
Sunday we will meet. Sunday we'll meet for the Bhagavad Gita. But just tomorrow morning we'll not be able to.
ಸರಿ.